Hello and good morning, and welcome back to Exodus Automotive. It's been a few, and thank you for the support. Okay, and welcome back to Exodus Automotive. We are going to be working on our 2013 Honda Accord with a 3.5 V6. We are going to be doing a timing belt package, water pump, timing belt, tension, and so forth. Now, you're going to want to disconnect your negative cable. This computer here is in a very awkward spot. So, you're going to want to, it has three plugs to it. Two of them go to the wire harness that way, and one come from under the fender well. You want to disconnect the one from the fender well so that this way you can just fold the computer over on the other side. Do not disconnect these three pieces without disconnecting your negative cable. Alright? So the bracket holder. One 10mm here, one 10mm there. I have already loosened it, so I can get this particular one there. Yes? Now, the front cover, the rear cover, your engine, all of it will now is more accessible to you. We have to remove our serpentine belt right in here. So let's go ahead and do that now. I believe that it's a 17. Serpentine belt. Now, this bracket here is your engine mount. We're going to be removing it because we're going to move the engine up and down at some point. This wire harness piece here that's right above the alternator, it has a 10mm bolt right here where my finger is. You see? Yeah. Little bracket piece sits over one of the cover bolts. You're going to want to use a 10mm swivel, 1/4 inch. Want to remove the top covers, front and rear. Yeah. By doing so, taking off the top covers, you are now able to see your timing marks here, you know what I'm saying? So it gives you a better understanding of where the car is sitting right now. There are marks on them, so it's not too far off the number 6 cylinder, almost the number 1 cylinder to top dead center. It's going to matter when it comes time to set the timing when we bring the car up into the air. So now I'm going to try to work on the back half, so you have the AC line and this wire harness, but the back cover here, yeah, we're going to take that off before we go up into the air. The back cover gets a little tricky. Let's say your space is a little bit more limited. I try to break as much of them as I use by hand. Okay, we have brought the car up into the air. We are going to remove the harmonic balancer. It is a 19 millimeter, half inch. You should break it loose. See this guy here? It's called a stubborn breaker. And I won't edit it. Now there is a keyway right here. Yes. There's also this little plate. Use a magnet to take the plate out. I like to use my trusty spacer. Put them in there so that you could hold the sprocket on the bottom end in place and keep the keyway tightened. Now you can remove the bottom cover, but first we have to go up a little further. We have to remove the tensioner in order to get to the bottom cover. Okay, this is our tensioner here, this whole entire piece here. Now it uses a 10 millimeter bolt here, or a 12 millimeter bolt here, a Allen key, I believe size 10 millimeter Allen key right here. You're gonna want to you have to remove it. Do not remove the pulley. You remove the whole entire tensioner. Alright, so now you have an exposed view of your lower timing cover. I've removed all of these bolts here. Just take your time, there's a gasket behind it. So try to just, take your time and pull them down. Yeah. Back up some. There you go. Now here's the bottom of your timing. That's your crank sprocket, one of your idler pulley, your tensioner. This is the bottom of your timing belt. Now there are marks on the sprocket itself, so we're going to line them up. Yes, you see this guy here? This is holding an engine mount up top. So we're gonna have to remove this guy here. Yeah, I'll show you in a second. So the car comes back down before we actually remove the belt. Okay, brought the car back down on the ground. You have this upper right hand side engine mount here. This guy right here, 214s and a 17 millimeter, takes off the bracket that rests on top of the engine mount. Yeah, so the 17, the 214s, okay, we're going to want to remove that. You have a ground 10 millimeter also. Break that loose first before removing the bracket. Alright, now hit the trigger. Get your floor jack, rest underneath the oil pan 2x4 on top, so this way the jack don't pierce the oil pan. You're going to want to bring it up. These bolts are fine thread. They give you a problem when is it to go back in when the motor is on a tilt. Yeah, cross threads it. On the removal, it will cross thread. So you want to put the floor jack under the oil pan, bring up the motor to relieve the stress off of that bracket before removing it. Alright? We're going to bring up the motor a little. You don't need much. Now, you're going to want to have to remove this bracket piece here. So the motor is going to have to come up a little bit. Or you can remove the bottom half of the engine mount and have a little bit more clearance. Let's see. Let's bring up the motor some. Okay. Now, it gives you enough without removing the engine mount. So if you can, it has 3 14 millimeter bolts. Alright, follow me. One of them you cannot see. This guy right here. First one, you cannot see it, but it is there. Second one, right behind it, you could use a latch, 14 millimeter. The third one is on the bottom. I already loosened it because I already had the car up in the ditch. So you have that one. I'm going to go one size down on the 1/4 inch. Yes. Gives me more space. It's breaking. There you go. Now I would like to say that you can get air in here, but realistically, no, you can't. You can remove the engine mount, as well as you could let it remain where it is. It only will give you probably about 2 more inches of space this way. this guy here, you get him when the car is up in the air. It's located on the extreme bottom. This guy, you don't see him because he's in a in-depth space. And this guy, obviously, yeah. With that being said, your timing belt now is fully exposed. Now this is my bird's eye view of the timing belt complete. Once you set your timing marks from this point on, right, here's a mark right here. And there is one on the backside cover also. Let's move this wire harness out of our way. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but here it is, right here. Okay. Now, on your front sprocket, there are numbers on them. This is number 6 here. And here is number 1. Yes. On our bottom, that little arrow there, and there is a little indentation somewhere along the bottom here that we're going to line up. Alright. Okay, I'm going to rotate the motor 2 times to be sure that our marks, so you have 3 marks. You have 1 here, 1 there, and 1 on the bottom. Now, we don't know where the number 1 piston is right now, so we spin it 2 times to make sure that we get our markings. Okay. This sprocket has numbers on there. There's a marking here that has to match up with the marking on the cover. So this is number 1 cylinder here. And our marking on the back side is good. All 3 are lined up. Let's go back up into the air now and yeah, remove the tensioner. Okay, this guy here, this is our tensioner. Here's the front part. Here's our belt. Yes, it runs on this pulley right here. Now, your oil pressure switch is here. There is a 10 millimeter right here. Yes, you're gonna have to put it. Now there's a few ways that you can go about this. You can remove the oil pressure switch, yes, or you can use a 10 millimeter box end wrench, come from the back side and break them loose. Yes. Now, whichever way you could get it on the back side of him to break him loose, that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that, say, you know, use this finger that he's sitting flush, break him loose. Okay, up top here, same thing, break it loose. Alright, okay. I didn't lock the cams in place, so basically what's gonna happen is that the tensioner, once I remove the tensioner, one of the cams may move forward or backwards or something of the sort, as well as that they may stand still. You're supposed to use a cam locking tool to hold the cams in place on the timing, but you're supposed to. If you have the tool, use it. If you don't, I suggest that you get it. If not, know where your marks are, where you left it, so that this way, if in the event that it does move, you will know where to put it back. Okay. very careful of this guy. Don't lose it, because you're going to be replacing this mechanism, and you're going to want this guy to be able to come out. Okay. Second pulley, idler pulley, you're going to want to use because it is tight. Remove your socket, go to a wrench. You don't want to get trapped in there. Okay. See it? Lock tight. Let's do our water pump. Let's put our drain pan under the bottom of it and replace the water pump and reinstall back everything. Quite a few of them. Drain off. Yeah. I want to show you something, yeah? See our mark here? Number 1, he's on the mark there. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this guy here, but let's see what we got. Okay. I see him, but you're not going to be able to see him due to the angle of where he is, but he's right there. It's on the mark, and also on the bottom, he's on the mark. So let's get our belt. Start at the bottom. Yes. Now you pull the slack on this end. Yes. Around the tensioner, that idler pulley. Now, when you come up here, something that's a you need to know. See the belt? If your timing is off by a tooth, this guy here will not sit. You see how, well, right here. Well, something is in my oh. There you go. Now your belt, no slack right here. Off the tensioner, no slack. When it's on the mark, it will fall into all of the tooth nice and smooth. Yes, be sure that they are sitting. You will feel it when it goes in its sprocket places. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you could see him, but start down at the bottom at the crank. Work your way over the idler. Come up to your front bank. Set your timing mark, number 1. Come across under your water pump to your rear bank, over. Now the rear bank has a slight lip on there. Yeah, so it has to be timing mark exact. If the timing mark is not exact in any which way, the belt will not sit on the sprocket properly. You notice the slack is on. Once we pull the pin, the slack on this end will be taken. Tighten them up. Before you pull your pin, double check your timing marks are still in place where they are. Yeah. Okay. Now you're going to want to spin the motor 2 times according to procedure in order for the belt to be properly seated in all sprockets. So you spin the motor 2 times and make sure that on your second turn you bring it back to number 1 and check your timing marks again.